Right, thank you everybody for coming. We're going to use two of the De Bono thinking hats this morning. The first one will be the red hat in just a moment, and the second one will be the green hat. So let's put on the red hats first. I'm going to ask you in any particular order what your views are about this topic of healthy lifestyle, healthy eating and so forth, and maybe what you feel are the problems or difficulties. So really a bit of red hat about your feelings, your views, your opinions, and what you think of the current situation. Would anyone like to start us off?
I'll start. I work evenings, so I really want my children to eat healthily, but I do find that by the time we get back from school, and then I've got to prepare dinner, and the children have got to eat dinner, and I've got to eat dinner, and I've got to cook my husband's dinner, that sometimes that's a struggle to provide a really healthy meal that can cover 3 different sittings, because we'll all eat at different times. So on those evenings, occasionally it may have to slip into not quite as healthy as I would like it to be.
Thank you very much indeed. Does anyone else have similar issues like that and feelings on the same way? Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, it is difficult with children in and out various clubs and things. There are a couple of nights a week where it's literally in, out, in, out, in, out. And I found the best way around that for me is to use a slow cooker, prepare something earlier on, chop up lots of vegetables, put them in there, and then it's just a kind of open lid, scoop, eat, go, next. And that can sometimes be quite a good solution for me.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. What about the professional view? What do you think, what are your feelings on all this?
I think it's very easy from the nursing point of view to want everybody to eat healthily all the time and to always have their carbohydrates and their vitamins, but we appreciate, I'm a mum, on a morning, getting the kids up and ready for school, you've got to get out for work, like we've spoken about in the evenings. I can appreciate that it's very difficult, and sometimes fast food is a convenience that we all step back on, but weekends and evenings, sometimes when you are available, maybe involve the kids, see if they want to choose what they would like to eat that night. Go to the supermarket shopping together. You can have something fast, but it can also be healthy.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Lucy, you're from Mid Wales, from Powys. What are your thoughts as both a parent and someone working in local authority? What are your feelings about this whole issue of healthy lifestyle and healthy eating?
I think it makes a lot of difference if there's a good guideline from the local authority or from whoever provides the school meals, because then at least the parent knows that the child is having a good meal at the middle of the day, and then maybe, if things fall by the wayside, at least, what happens in school is covered. So I think it's really good if you've got a very supportive local authority or school meal provider. And then you can slowly but surely pick up good habits from that and, introduce them into your lifestyle, because it's all about introducing easy, quick habits into your lifestyle, I think, like having nuts in your handbag instead of, the Twix or whatever, so, so that's what I feel.
Can
really.
I just ask maybe one quick question?
Yeah.
One of the problems that I have, I'm similar to Johanna here, that my kids are constantly in and out of the house. It's portion control. I do quite a lot of snacks for them to keep them going after school when they're doing different activities, carrot sticks and apples and stuff like that. But I never actually know whether then the evening meal that I'm giving them afterwards is the full size of what they should be eating, because they might be full up from all their healthy snacks that they've had while I've been running around all over the place.
Okay, interesting, thank you. Okay. If we could therefore do something about it, I mean, going back to your feelings, your instant reaction, let's just go around the room. I mean, if schools and local authorities and indeed national governments and so forth could fix the issues that we've all expressed, the concerns about portion control, the concerns about balanced diet and making sure that we have enough water or whatever it is to drink and so forth, how would you feel? I mean, if someone came up with a magic solution, let's go around the room, what would your thoughts be?
I don't want to sound thick, it's just that from the country where I came from, I mean, healthy eating is already there, because we started, when I cook, because I really, really cook, I'm sorry, but because I'm also a home maker or housewife, I have all the time, I feel sometimes that I don't have any excuse or any reason really to not do something about healthy eating for my child. First is from the culture where I came from. We eat vegetables, fish, seafood. I mean, it's really healthy. Second, I have all the time, if you may say so, I have all the time in the world to actually do something about healthy eating. So from the moms that I listen to now, I can't actually relate, but I hear what they say. But maybe I'm here to actually give ideas on, or add ideas on how I am feeding my child vegetables or yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be able to go to Green Hat in just a moment.
Yes.
That would be great. Thank you very much indeed. Anyone else who hasn't said anything about how they feel about, sort of promoting this healthy lifestyle and how they feel, we should do it, or maybe we are doing it already, as you've just said?
I think it is a lot about education, and if there's a way that you could help the parents understand, what makes a healthy meal and portion control and those sorts of things, is how we would educate the parents, because they're the ones that do need to educate, and we can do as much as we can with the children. We've seen that they've had lots of lovely ideas, but then it's getting that back to the parents. So it's finding a way of communicating with parents, isn't it, really? I mean, a lot of us know what we should do, but again, the busy lifestyle is what takes over, and the amount of hours you've got in a day sometimes, and if you've got children, like say, doing lots of activities, it can be a bit hectic. So I think it's just perhaps finding a way to educate the parents.
Okay, thank you.
I think the 5 a day campaign's helped a lot. Now in the supermarkets, there's little symbols on things as well, so you exactly know what you're aiming to be each day.
Okay.
So I found that helpful.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much indeed.
I think the everything in moderation slogan also is important to remember. I've struggled with my weight all my life, so I work extra hard to make sure my kids always have their 5 a day, and we eat a lot of uncooked, fresh fruit and vegetables in the house, more vegetables than fruit. So even if they do have what I would call a junk meal because of aforementioned clubs and whatnot, I'm quite confident that my children are getting as much as they need. But we were talking just now about some parents not having that information to hand. So if it comes from the school first, maybe perhaps via the children, that might be useful.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Right, so add our opinions, feelings, and general kind of response to the situation as it is, or as we'd like it to be. Let's now move to the Green Hat. So this is really just ideas. So what we're interested in is, so what do you think we can do? Now, we've already had a taste of this from your good self, who said, eating healthy is part of your existing situation. So what things? So ideas that you might think of, little tricks of the trade, things that you might sort of suggest that we can offer to people in other parts of the world that can think about this in a different way? Anything at all that you think might be helpful, that's an idea, a suggestion, a proposal?
For me, doing the school dinners, I know with a lot of parents, they like to, if they've got the clubs and that after school, knowing that they've had a nutritious lunch in the middle of the day, and that's going to help towards their 5 a day and having a balanced meal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I would add to that, because we did a new parents' evening and the parents got to sample the school dinners, and I think it would be good for the children to do that, because my child isn't that adventurous with food, and I find he will have school dinners but stick to the same things. If he got to sample something a bit different that I think he would probably like, but he won't have that for a school dinner in case he doesn't like it and then he goes hungry, it would be good for the school if they could sample something different. I'm not saying every day, but occasionally, once a month, sticking it in and say, right, okay, we've got this range, just have a mouthful, just try it, do you like it? And the same with fresh vegetables, fruit. I think that is it. If they're in an environment with 30 other children or 60 other children, then they're more likely to try it.
Okay, some little taster sessions.
Taster days. Yeah, I think that was a good idea actually. I know my daughter probably wouldn't try something if I persuaded her to try it, but if she saw her friends eating it, then she miit give it a go.
Yes.
Well, I think we've all had that experience where our children go to other people's houses and
yeah.
eat things they won't eat at home.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of not cooking vegetables as much as possible, so I know I mentioned it just now, but eating as much uncooked fruit and well, specifically vegetables as possible.
Yes.
And we'll often have a cooked meal and then just raw vegetables on the plate rather than cooked ones because they're just better for you uncooked.
I think the schools, subscribes to the fruit and vegetable scheme, so that's a really good way of, again, like you say, the peer side of it. Oh, I see my friend eating a banana, so I'll try it. Where at home they won't. So we do encourage the children to, have a healthy snack during the day.
I think a good way to keep that going outside of school hours, obviously the long summer holidays, and it's so easy because everywhere you go in the supermarkets or if you go to a kids' play centre, there's just a sea of yellow wheat-based carb products full of fat and salt. And I think to avoid just kind of buying into them because if they're there and they're easy, we try wherever we can to take packed lunches with us. But I've now switched to, instead of just putting loads of stuff in a big bag and then sharing out, because you've got no idea how much they're eating, and as importantly, I've got no idea how much I'm eating because I graze while they play. So I started putting individual packed lunches together and my own individual packed lunch, put it all in a big bag, and then my children can eat throughout the day from their own packed lunch. I know what they've eaten, I can see if there's anything they've left over. And it prevents that kind of going into a shop and finding there's nothing else to buy but crisps and muffin. So, it's hard work doing 4 or 5 packed lunches the night before or the morning of a day out. But I think if it's something you do over and over again and it becomes habit, you get quicker and quicker at it as well. So that really works for me.
Okay. Now you said you did lots of things already. Could you share with us some ideas that you might find helpful to us?
Yes, aside from the friends actually the child seeing their friends eating, I think it's also important for the child to actually see the parents eating vegetables. And one thing that I do with my daughter is that we shop together. So if there are I usually bring her in the exotic vegetable area, and I tell her, what do you think is this vegetable? And then I can tell her all the things I know about that vegetable, how it can help her. Because my daughter wears eyeglasses, I'll tell her that it will help your eyesight to be better. For example, the butternut squash, what nutrients it has. And then what I do is I bring her home, we watch YouTube and look up for recipes with butternut squash. And then we can cook together. And it's amazing how sometimes it doesn't taste really good, but when my daughter knows that she has done something with the cooking, then she'll try and eat it. And sometimes even if I didn't like the taste, it's funny how she'll say, this tastes good. And then, never mind if she'll not taste it again in the future, but at least she tried or did something.
Sort of experimentation technique, really. That's quite interesting. Okay, thank you. Can I ask from the nutritional point of view then, Juliet, maybe ask you about the sort of recommendations, the ideas that you have as part of the National Health Service, what things you suggest that people should think about?
Yeah, I don't know if you all received one in your school packs when your children first started school, that the NHS and the school nurses follow the healthy eating programme, sort of a yellow Get Fit, 5 a day, healthy eating, that we endorse that. It's an NHS scheme, but also little tricks to do with your kids, like I said, shopping with them, like you said, getting them to choose something new, having a rainbow meal where you have all the different colours of the rainbow, something green, something red, something yellow on their plate. Various little tricks that you can try that, like we've said, that have some friends round and everybody have a little taster of something, try preparing things together. Just really not fooling them into eating it, but trying to involve them in choosing to eat healthily. And the NHS, of course, encourages families to eat together, which is an important thing, all sitting down around the table together. I know it's hard because parents work and children have clubs, but as we've said, if everybody sits and eats together and tries to eat healthily, then the family as a whole is going to be a healthier family.
Thank you. Okay. Other tricks of the trade anyone would like to share? Any little ploys that you might employ?
If children don't like their vegetables, because children don't like vegetables, well, not some of them don't, you can blitz them up and sneak them into sauces, into your food.
Stealth approach.
Yes.
Yes, I do have to admit, my spaghetti bolognese sauce is it's filled with about 8, 10, 15 different vegetables that my kids are. Mum's got a secret garden upstairs because I know she's got stuff in this and it's not growing in the back garden and it's not in the fridge. So where are the stuff coming from?
And that's you've mentioned spaghetti bolognese, good way of hiding things in sauces.
Yeah,
and
sauces is the biggest thing to actually hide things in.
Thank you.
I'm on a bit of a health kick at the moment, and someone's given me a recipe for what we affectionately call the green smoothies or the slime smoothies. And I make a batch of this every couple of days, and it consists of an entire bag of spinach or kale, and some pak choy perhaps, but then pineapple, mango, apples, bananas, and it's delicious, and my kids love it and they ask for it. So they're getting all the healthy greens in. I normally give it to them as a dessert. That's how nice it is. They're getting this really lovely dessert, and actually it's full of spinach and kale and spirulina powder and wheatgrass powder, and they just love it. So that's another way of getting of mixing it up and hiding it. Well, they do know spinach is going into it, but they don't really understand the implications. So.
I like this idea that you've touched on like the horrible histories. It's called the slime. What do you call it? Slime.
Lisa's nicknamed it the slime smoothie. Actually.
Slime smoothie. But then children will like the kind of I dare you drink the slime smoothie. Of course I do. I love it. You want to taste it.
Well, my children, I'm binging as well, and my children, they saw me make it once, and they saw a bag of green go in, so instantly they didn't, my smoothie makers for banana smoothies, not for spinach and kale smoothies. So I've taken now to when I have a glass in the morning, I almost don't let them have any. And then it turns into you can just have a little bit mind, to make it seem like it's something that, if we're not allowed it, then we want it more. So even the girl, my son's happy to drink it now, but even the girls are like, well, can I just have a little bit, Mum? Just a little bit, go on then. And that's all they need really, a few mouthfuls. It's got probably, at least 1 of 5 a day. So it's almost a reverse psychology that does work with children.
Kind of reverse rationing, you can't have it, but you can have it now.
Yeah.
And enjoy it even more because you've had extra.
That's enough now, have some more tomorrow.
Anyone else got any little ploys that they might employ? Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for all your green hat suggestions, and indeed for sharing with us your red hat as well. So I'd just like to say thank you, and this will go to a good cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, would it be worth asking parents how the school could help?
Yes, I'm just conscious of time. So.
No, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes. I think it'd be quite interesting if you could slide that in. Just how the school could help promote
should
other parents. Because obviously we've got brilliant ideas here. What can we do with these ideas, really?
Right, okay. Andrew, you still okay with that?
Is it okay? Right, so I'll go back to you.
So what's the words again, please?
I've just said them.
That was just a test.
How could the school use these ideas that you've suggested?
Okay.
What would be a format or some way of help? I mean, I don't know if that helps you to think about it.
Right.
But these are suggestions. We used to have a healthy tip every week or every month.
Healthy?
But we haven't done that for a while, and I just wondered.
Tip of the week.
Tip
Okay,
of
that's
the week.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So can I hand back to you?
Okay. So back to me in the studio. Okay. Okay. Thank you all very much indeed. However, one last request, and that is, we're here in a school, so maybe what do you think the school could do in terms of green hat ideas to promote these wonderful things that we've been talking about? So how can the school help your children to have a healthy lifestyle, and how can they help the children to eat healthily?
I think that I know this school does, and the school down the road, but to actually ban things like fizzy drinks and chocolates and things like that in lunchboxes, because that helps us. Because when if the children say, "Oh, can't we have the chocolate bar in our lunchbox today?" it's really helpful to say, "Darling, you're not allowed to, because the teachers will tell me off because we're not allowed to put them in your lunchboxes." They don't even ask now; they understand that that's how it is. And I think banning anything but water is a really good idea as well.
I think that's something that the governing body, endorse, and we ensure that policy is then sort of carried out.
Absolutely.
All the midday supervisors are aware of it, the teaching staff. So we do promote that.
And that does help. It really does help us as parents. And obviously, for the parents that might prefer to put something else in there, if they have to toe the line as well, then it just makes it easy for everyone. So I think that's a really good policy.
I think if there were perhaps something in the lessons that the children were given, in the teachings that they were given, and perhaps that was related to the homework that they were given, so that the parents were getting involved, so the message was not getting just to the children but to the parents as well. I think if we were doing homework with our children that involved learning about healthy lifestyles, that would get the message, because I consider myself fairly well informed, but there's always room to learn. So
at our partner school, one of the subjects they do is about healthy eating, and so what they do is they send a diary home, and it becomes it's quite a pressure when you get, as a parent of a child at that school, it's quite a pressure when you get that home. You've got to start filling in everything your child's eating. So even if for that week the parent goes, oh, I'm going to have to make sure.
The problem is, though, is that some parents might not have that knowledge to start with. So if the knowledge is being provided from the school in a sort of subliminal message through the homework, I think that would be quite useful. Because that's what you're asking, isn't it?
Yes, anything. Tips, not just as parents, but tips that the school could employ.
I mean, I think the governing body would again endorse any sort of more parental interaction, really. That would be great. We're always looking at ways that we can improve our interaction with parents. And we could do things like maybe a recipe book, healthy eating recipe book.
I think also that the children that are being pulled up on their inappropriate lunchbox contents, if there were perhaps guidelines, maybe paper format guidelines sent home with that child to the parent to say, this is what we recommend you give, rather than giving in this that you've already given, specifically catered to that child and to that parent, I suppose, really. That would be perhaps quite useful as well.
I think one other thing, I think the children can handle science, and certainly when talk to my children about green vegetables, I don't just say you have to eat green things because they're good for you. I go on to talk about because it's got iron, and your blood needs iron because that helps you to run faster for longer, because your blood needs... And I think when you tell it like that, it's much easier to remember than just green things are good for you. So then you get the legalistic, what about green fruit pastels? So to explain a bit more of the science behind it, I think they can actually handle quite a lot.
Explain the reason why specific vegetables are good for them.
I think that's definitely that is part of the curriculum. That is what that is taught to the children in those terms in the healthy eating subjects. That they are aware of which type of food is better for for your bones, for your skin, and so they are aware of that. It's just sometimes they don't relay that message back that they know that information, but it's maybe just reinforcing that a little bit more, and then, like I say, communicate back. And if that's with a homework exercise or something like that, and we can do that. And in the past we have worked with particular parents with the lunchbox issue, and we do support them with information about how to have healthier lunches.
You could have displays at your parents' evening where you've got a selection of like a Mars bar and a Coke can, and the number of sugar lumps which are in each. I mean, you may well have had that at school, but sometimes that can be quite a shock, really. Because you just don't realise, do you? And then maybe alternatives of how to get the children can have sugar, but in an appropriate way. Like a few apricots, and maybe have tasting sessions for the parents then as to help them choose better sources.
She mentioned about apricots. It's just that not everyone in the schools have hot dinners from the school meals, isn't it? So I'm not sure if every school have snack time. I mean, here in Ashbrook, you provide fruits for the children, something that everyone can actually try. One idea could be you can ask the children what they actually want to try for a snack, and then a voting thing that here are your options, here are the fruits or veg that you can eat for snack time for next week. So which among these do you think you want to try? And then which fruit and vegetable gets the most number of votes will be the fruit or veg that will be eaten for the week after, and then they'll be looking forward to it. I wonder what this fruit or veg actually tastes, or apricot tastes like, because my daughter actually tasted apricot from this school only. She hasn't tasted it from home because I don't know what apricot is. So maybe they can have that.
Some amazing ideas, thank you. I mean, last sort of point really is, has anyone heard of any other initiatives, any other ideas that we might want to use as part of the school strategy? And as you were saying, Sharon, as a school governor, you know, the schools are trying to promote healthy eating, but is there anything else, any other little tricks of the trade that you might know?
Well, at Signet we do presentations, doing a smoothie bar, and getting the children to try, put some different fruits in to make a smoothie, and they have to name it, and the best class has the recipe printed out and put on the wall. We also do chef's theatre, so doing stir fries and stuff, so we've got a number of things that we can do at the school.
Thank you very much. It's been amazingly helpful. I've learned a lot this morning, so thank you all very much indeed. So thank you to parents, to Governor, to health workers, and to Signet, and to Lucy from coming from Wales. Thank you all very much indeed for all your help. Thank you.
Thank you.